Oh, you're not a lieutenant anymore.
There's one part. It is lagging. It is lagging. Why is happening?
Just keep going over. Like, is this our thing?
Oh, right there. Don't let the burn. Yeah, no. Just admit
That's all right for right now. The same for the ceremony when they're like taking pictures and everything.
I'm not going to the front. Testing.
Sound section.
And then how long? You can leave the
See if you can go to the front. Oh, one testing out.
What is the room's Wi-Fi? Just so it doesn't sound.
Do we have that clock? He's got the clock information.
That's going to slow down the streams.
Oh, being on Wi-Fi?
Yeah. Say.
Because right now you're burning through your data, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Turn around.
I just don't want it to turn off.
Okay, yeah, that's so bad. Oh, this is
He's got one. But he's hooked up. He's got the YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And if we go
This is great. Like, look at that lag. Look at this lag. Look at that strut. Look at that. Wait for it. It's teleported. Damn, he just straight up.
Oh, right?
This is why I don't like this schedule. I'd rather just do something. I'd rather just do this straight from the YouTube, not this.
I mean, I can help. Like, I don't care. I've heard this.
I'm sitting at 5 is too late.
Exactly.
Carry it on. Then you're going to go no matter what.
And so, I would say, I mean, we got to
So does that mean that because it's
Yeah, that's what I want to check.
High quality equipment.
well, I guess they keep on writing.
Even if you go there at 6,
Some have them, some don't.
not if you're checking the bag. Especially. Where are you from? Southwest?
Ooh. Ma'am, stand right there for a second.
Make your bag a carry-on.
Just move right there.
Make it a carry-on size.
And now,
Don't worry about it.
move back.
If you get there, the line shows the paycheck. If not, you can just carry it on.
Let me see if this
If you
works.
don't have a carry-on size up, so like limited.
Look at that. It's teleporting all over the place.
Alright, so that's the start.
I'm about to tell everybody to go.
No matter what you want to make them for,
I don't want to do that. But I don't know if that's going to work. It's a problem.
I'll get there.
We're eventually. We're just gonna send it. Yeah, exactly. That's how it is. Keep safe. No, I mean, that's where
Just stand there.
You know what? It's fine. It's all good.
It's out of these or sitting in my office.
That does not sound.
Oh, it's on the roof.
Yeah, it's out of from like with the like we have to walk them to
We're gonna go live on audio. Audio is good.
Mic check, mic check.
Yep. Sounding good. Try talking.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Can you hear me now?
You're good. I'm gonna zoom in. Zoom in.
Yeah, please silence all cell phones.
Almost done.
I'm here till 4:30. No worries.
All good.
Thereabouts.
Are you all good on sound?
We just tested it. Are we, do you know, are we good with, is that what you were back there for?
Yeah. So Chandler, he's getting.
Okay.
Yeah. Slide up. That's what I like to hear. That's why, slide of the jacket. I said it's too warm for the right no jacket. Yeah, man.
You're good.
Cool. Kind of sit on here a little bit. Said no shirt stays necessary. Right, man, right. Keep it tight, keep it right.
We'll see.
Can text me, that's fine.
Let everybody know to silence your cell phone. Yeah. So I do that.
Thank you, 31. All right, sir. I'm gonna head out. All right, safe on your drive.
Oh yeah, it's 3:30. Yeah. 333. That is right. My bad.
You get bumped? You back up there again?
You good? No, I'm good. I'm good.
I'm gonna miss you guys.
Yep. Still this evening, then I'll be over.
There we go.
Don't worry. 3 months from now. So hey guys, we're gonna miss your class.
I got a missing plan, can you help? Oh, there's that thing that pops up. It's like a little blue thing that says
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The ceremony will begin shortly. At this time, please silence all electronic devices. Please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you
Everyone, please be seated. Good morning or good afternoon. I am Captain Travis Wooden. I've had the pleasure of serving as the mentor for class 21010, and I am the MC for today's ceremony. I would like to take this time to welcome our distinguished visitors, squadron leadership, and the family members and friends of the graduating class. First guest, Director of Cyber and C4 Systems for AFSOC, Colonel Michael Cody. Commander of the 333rd Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Jeremy Sparks. I also have the Director of Operations for the 333rd Training Squadron, Major Venice Hunter. And of course, a warm welcome to the family members and friends of our graduating class. So we are here to celebrate the hard work and sacrifice of these graduating students and their families. Cyber warfare operators are needed more than ever before. In 2018, the commander of United States Cyber Command, General Paul Nakasone, stated of the cyber landscape, "It's a mature and highly capable cyber force is built and in the fight, aggressively defending our network, conducting daily operations against adversaries, and strengthening the combat power and lethality of U.S. forces around the world. We are at a defining time for our nation and our military. Our near-peer competitors are posturing themselves, and threats to the United States' global advantage are growing. Nowhere is this challenge more manifest than in cyberspace. Today, these freshly minted cyber operators are charged with defending our nation against these ongoing threats by employing capabilities to directly meet presidential, Secretary of Defense, and combatant commander objectives around the world. To the new graduates, congratulations on your new challenge. Before recognizing each of our graduates, I would like to introduce today's guest speaker. Colonel Michael Cody is the Director of Cyber and C4 Systems, Headquarters, Air Force Special Operations Command, Hurlburt Field, Florida. AFSOC is an Air Force Major Command and the Air Force component of U.S. Special Operations Command, providing special operations forces for worldwide deployment and assignment to unified combatant commanders. The command has approximately 12,900 active duty, reserve, Air National Guard, and civilian professionals. Colonel Cody, the floor is yours.
All right. Okay, so I can't help but notice this picture when I first start out, right? All the graduates. And I'm going to point out a few fine hairlines, right? I'm this over here. I'm seeing a little good over here, right?
Very handsome.
I mean, a little bit of love over here. A little heavy on the sides. So I'll tell you, it's my honor to come back and talk to this class. And I got to tell you, first and foremost, I know some families are out there, some families are in the room, and I just want to give them a round of applause. There is no way where any of us would be where we are today without the love and support of our families. How about a round of applause for them? So I was thinking, what do I tell this new class, right? A bunch of new cyber airmen joining our Air Force, and I said, I could think of two good things, right? So as I thought about my career in the Air Force and the things that I really appreciated hearing about, and one, maybe I'll get them a little fired up to come out to AFSOC, right? Working out in our MAGCOM, so I'll spend a little time talking about that, seeing if I can get you fired up about gunships and special ops and special tactics, and then maybe talk to you a little bit about kind of what would my expectations be of you. If you're an officer coming to work for me, what are the things that I would talk to you about, right? Clearly a baseline of core values that we understand in the Air Force, but what would I expect out of you guys? So So AFSOC, Special Operations Command, component to SOCOM. A very diverse mission set, and a lot of people don't know about it because it's a relatively small MAGCOM, but a very diverse mission set. So, and I'll try to communicate that to you in terms of platforms, right? So we've got infill, exfil aircraft, right? So your MC-130J coming fresh off the assembly line with the latest version of that. We've got the CV-22, or what you might recognize as the Osprey, same PMO that the Marine Corps uses, again, same infill, exfil. We've got 3 ISR platforms, right? We got the U-28, right? Balls on the bottom to do intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. We've got the MC-12 flying out of our guard unit and the 137th. And then we've got RPAs flying out of the Remote Ops Center down at Cannon and out of Hurlburt Field. And then the one you probably most know is the gunship, right? Firing 105s out of the back and a 30mm machine gun out of the front with weapons loaders jamming shells in there about as fast as you can, doing ground support. And then a myriad of other aircraft, some commercial, some for our combat aviation advisors, used for contested ops and sort of counter intel type missions. Stuff we can't talk about, I guess, but a lot of unique aircraft that gets us into places that military aircraft can't get us into. So I think it's neat to also that on my staff, I'm kind of going to talk to you about as officers today, not as cyber officers, because as I look at my staff, General Slife, my boss, is really big on integrating mission operations, right? He doesn't like the stovepipes. He doesn't like us to think of ourselves as the A6 Cyber Bubba or the A4 CE maintenance person. He wants us to think broad spectrum. So I actually have a squadron that reports to me, run by a U-28 pilot, where the DO is an MC-130 pilot. And then I have NAVs on my staff, CISOs, I have a JICO on my staff, I have 62s who are engineers, some civilians who have done plenty of time in the cockpit that help integrate what we do operationally with the technology that's there in Air Operations Center. They call them Mission Information Managers. And so when I talk to my officers, I don't talk to them based on their career field, I talk to them as airmen, right? What do we expect from them, focused on joint operations. So that's kind of a good lead into what would I expect of you as an officer if you were coming to work for me, right? How would I expect you to answer the call? C-A-L-L. So now you can go, that's what Cody said. C-A-L-L, that was an acronym, right? So I think the first thing I would talk to you about is courage. I think everybody here knows what the right thing looks like and knows the right thing to do. But it takes courage to enforce accountability and standards to keep us up at that level. And it's much easier to walk by it, to ignore it, to not do something about it. That person's not in my unit, that thing doesn't matter to me. Well, I would challenge you all to be courageous enough to not just know the right thing to do, but challenge others to be where they need to be. And it's going to be scary, it's going to be out of your comfort zone, but that's what you're here for, and I think you're up to that challenge. So that's the C, courage. So A, be an airman first, right? You kind of heard me allude to that a little bit earlier. I certainly value your expertise as cyber officers and all the great training you got down here, but that subject matter expertise is not going to be very valuable if you don't understand the mission we're doing as an Air Force, right? So here's the things I do with my officers and my enlisted force and my civilians. So I have my U-28 pilot, take them out on a training mission, right? I throw them on the back of an AC-130 gunship and have them watch the munition guys load and fire weapons on the training range right there at Eglin that's near Hurlburt Field. I send them out to the blue flag guys, right, over at the 505th, even though we're in AFSOC, that's an ACC unit that can tell them all about how we operate AOCs downrange and do all the mission system side of that stuff. We get our staff involved in airborne mission networking, electronic flight books that the pilots use. We do tactical data links, which is not common. I would say General Slife has allowed me to break down barriers. Typically our cyber folks tend to think infrastructure and networks. And the minute it starts to sound like a mission system, your A3 or somebody on the operational side kind of takes it as a program. He's like, I don't want that. I don't want one part of my organization running the Mission System Support Center for AFSOC and some other part of the organization figuring out how we do networks. I want somebody who can build those teams together and make sure that we support across the board. So when the field calls, we're not figuring out, is it a network thing, is it an ops thing, is it a mission systems thing? He's like, Cody, you're my belly button, go figure all that stuff out. So talk about uncomfortable. But he supported it with the resources and the people and the things that we do. So it's really neat. The other thing we do is we go out and do field training. So many of you may not know this, but we have special tactics operators that do the equivalent of what Navy SEALs do. You don't see them on as many posters, you don't see them in as many movies, But they're out there doing infill, exfil, hostage rescue, rapid response for other kinds of things happening all over the world. They're dive qualified, they're jump qualified, they're weapons qualified. They've got all those things that do basically everything that the SEALs do, but they do it under an Air Force mission hat on the ground. And that's why tying together not just the air, but the ground picture with our airborne mission networking, where aircraft are, calling in fires and doing all those things. And typically, there's a cyber person standing right next to them, right? And they're not just thinking about what they need to do for networks, right? They go, hey, we got one seat on the airplane. Give me a cyber bubba that can set up SATCOM, RF networks and make sure I've got what I need on the X while I'm in combat. And so it's a different mindset, right? We kind of think of ourselves as specialists, especially on the enlisted side. We're trying to bridge beyond that. And you see some units like the Joint Communications Unit, JCSE is another good one, and many of our AFSOX units that are trying to get our airmen to think broader about that. So again, airmen first, right? Be an airman first, and then apply that great cyber expertise to that mission you know and understand. Not the other way around. Don't pigeonhole yourself in a cyber unit and only do that stuff. Get out and see the other units across the base. Go fly on a gunship or an ACC aircraft, or get in their AOC so you understand that mission. You can apply the expertise and the great things you've learned here with Colonel Sparks and the rest of the team. So that's the A. So the L, lean forward. So the most impressive officers, enlisted civilians, are not the people that are sitting around waiting for me to tell them what to do, right? I'll give you a little guidance and direction. I'll tell you where we're going. I'll tell you where I see the Air Force in 5 or 10 years. And then I'm not the smartest guy in the room, right? I'm good at strategy. I got a little wisdom. I understand talent management. But you're the new guys that understand the technology. You're the folks that just came out of school. Go help me solve those problems. Don't sit around waiting for somebody to tell you what to do. And I'll tell you, if you get good leadership, and this is my philosophy, you're going to mess up. I guarantee it. But we don't learn and bridge new gaps by worrying about messing up, right? We can continue to do the same thing and stagnate and do it right because we've done it 5,000 times. But that's not going to get us where we need to be with global power competition and contested environments. So old guys like me, well, I'll say old guys like Sparks, because I go back a little further, right? I go back to Cold War times and things like that. But the war we've been fighting for the last arguably 15 years has conditioned us to operate in an environment where we control all the domains, right? We don't think about IAD shooting down our aircraft in the Middle East, right? We don't think about our ground troops experiencing much resistance on the ground. We don't think of people jamming GPS and doing stuff to us in cyberspace because we operated for 15 years in this permissive environment where we controlled all the domains. So I'm here to tell you, if you're listening to our Chief of Staff of the Air Force or any other general officer on the Joint or Air Force side, they are talking about how do we operate in that contested environment, right? We've kind of spoiled ourselves because of the kind of conflict we've been in for a long period of time, and it's young folks like you that have got to come in and figure out how to compete against China and Russia in a whole new scenario where I don't have comms 24/7 and I don't have GPS while I'm flying my aircraft. What does that look like? How do we operate in that environment? And we may not fall in on Al-Udeid Air Base that feels like a back base home that's got movie theaters and all the other stuff, right, that we're used to, and the fixed comms and all the things that are reliable. We may drop on an airfield in the middle of blank stand, right, or someplace like that, and be expected to get that stuff up and running. With the one airman I talked about earlier, not 6 folks who understand networks, RF, SATCOM, and all the things that we do. So lean forward and do things, take initiative, and be, all you can be as an airman, right? I just talked like the Marine Corps, didn't I? Yeah, okay, that's all right. What the hell, right? Yeah, that's right. My son's in the Marine Corps, and my other son's sitting back there going to join the Air Force this September. So I love all the services, right? My daughter served in the Air Force, so I don't know. I hope they didn't do it just because of Dad. I was almost trying to talk him out of it at one point. I'm like, hey, you don't have to join the military just because Dad did. But anyway, whole nother story. But lean forward. Good leadership will run top cover for you when you don't get things. And I'll tell you, it's kind of nice being a lieutenant, right? And I don't say that in a facetious way or anything like that, but if you've got energy and you're going to lean forward, you're probably not going to get it right every time, and people will run top cover for you, right? Because you're taking initiative, you're figuring things out, and you're doing what you need to do. If you're sitting back waiting for somebody to tell you what to do, I'm probably going to call you to my office and go, okay, are you going to do something? You're a smart bubba, right? Go out and make things happen, make stuff the way that it needs to be. So there's the L, right? Lean forward. And then the last one is lead and develop your team, right? So as I think about that, you need to understand each individual who works for you. We share some common values, we share some common background because we all wear a uniform and do certain things, but there is no normal. You are not like you, or not like you, or not like you. And if I have this cookie cutter approach and say, well, every lieutenant in the Air Force, I don't know, whatever my stereotype is, wants to go be a colonel one day and wants to be a cyber person and never wants to go do this, and that's the wrong way to approach things. You got to get to know people as individuals, understand what their talents and goals and desires are, and then use the experience of the senior leaders to help manage that talent and move you in the direction that you need to be. And that's going to be the expectation of you. And you're going to say, well, gosh, I've been in the Air Force for like 5 minutes. It doesn't matter. There's all kinds of people to help you, right? You run into a legal problem, bam, go find legal help, right? You got a leadership challenge or question, call Sparks or Cody and go, hey, I'm not sure what's going on here, but help me out a little bit, right? Help me navigate the waters. But don't be afraid of it. Step up to it, lean forward, and do those things. The other things I would tell you is be careful about gravity when it comes to talent management. So lots of programs out there to help recognize your top 10, 15%, right? My Airman of the Quarter, my NCO of the Quarter, time to select commanders, time to pick people to go to schools and special things like that, which is going to those boards are going to kind of zero you in on your top performers. And I hope you don't, but you may have a few that don't do the right thing, right? So now you got some discipline and things to take care of. Well, that's gravity, right? Something you got to deal with. Well, I'm here to tell you, if all you do is take care of those 2 10%, you got 80% you're ignoring in the middle, right? And I would tell you, not particularly hard to do discipline. It's fairly straightforward. You get a lot of good legal advice, and it's, you got some decision space, and it's your decision to make, not legal's. But that's fairly straightforward. Recognizing your top folks, how hard is it to call in somebody, like Sparks over here and go, hey, you're doing a great job. Yep, you're my top lieutenant colonel, you're my top commander. Here's the things you're doing great. Here's some things you can work on. How hard is that? Now, tell me how hard it is to take in, let's say you got 10 troops, to call in your number 10 of 10 and tell them where they aren't living up, what they can do to improve, and keep them motivated, inspired to do what they need to do. Think about that, because you're going to be in those shoes, and you're copping out if you don't step up to do that thing. So I'll share a great quote with you, and I think it gives you perspective as you think about how to mentor and counsel people, right? Because when you're nervous and when you're not sure what you're doing and you're trying to gain some courage to kind of go do the right thing, even though it's a little bit uncomfortable, you have to be careful not to come across the wrong way, right? How would you want somebody to approach you if you needed to improve on something? Politely, not, hey, pull your head out, this is how you do it. It's in a partnering kind of way. Hey, I see you're over here, I see you're struggling with this, let me help you along. And the quote kind of ascribes to that. It's by Maya Angelou. And it goes, hopefully I get this right. So people will forget what you did, they'll forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. So you can do lots of things in the Air Force. You can recognize people, you can give them discipline, you can help get them on the right path. You better damn well give them feedback. So how many of you like to get feedback? How many of you like to know how you're doing, where your strengths and weaknesses are? Raise your hand. How many of you like to give feedback? Yeah, okay, a couple brave souls over there, right? So it's harder, I admit it, right? You certainly want to know how you're doing, but it's hard because of what I just said, right? You don't want to make somebody feel diminished or less of themselves. You want to be able to tell them how they're doing, tell them some areas they can improve, show them you care about them, and walk out of the room inspired and motivated, knowing that you trust in them. Not walking out of the room and going, damn, that sucked. I just got my butt chewed by the boss or the commander or whatever. Do you really think they're going to move out and do the things that you suggested? Or are they going to be sidetracked because you didn't do a good job of communicating, motivating them, and convincing them that you trusted them? So that's what you're charged with. That's what you guys are going to be expected to do. And you may or may not have a lot of experience with leadership, but that's the card you're dealt right now. And so that's what I would expect of you, right? So there's your last L. I would expect you guys to move out, be courageous, be airman first, lean forward. What's the last one? Who's paying attention? Lean and develop your people. There you go. Giddy up. So I don't want to take too much time. I told Sparks I'd keep it to about 10 minutes.
You blew right past that. And then you also called me old.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, but I'm still offended.
So truth be told, right? Well, I'll turn 53 this year. I got 33 years in the Air Force, so I am old. and bald, so it's okay.
You sound handsome.
So there's a lieutenant colonel kissing up right there. So, funny story, right? I'll tell you a funny bald story. So when well, it's good because it's a good lesson in communication, right? So I'm at Incirlik Air Base, right? And they have you write articles for the paper when you're a commander. So they're like, hey, you know, write an article for the paper. We'll put it out there. Help talk to us about things that are important to you as a commander. And so I wrote something about, you know, email, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So you don't do illegal things with email. You know, careful how you communicate in email because you can send wrong messages without the nonverbals, yada, yada, yada. So the PA person comes over, interviews me, lieutenant, goes over there, sends me the article all written up, and bam, you know, in the middle, there's my picture. They put the picture of you in the middle. And she goes, hey, sir, here's the article. Take a look. Tell me if you think it's good to go. And so I sent back a note. Yeah, LT, you know, it looks great, but the picture makes me look a little bald. 2 minutes after I send that email, so yeah, I should have put a little ... smiley at the end, but sir, we can get a different picture. I think everybody knows you have a little more hair than it looks like. So I was like, Lieutenant, I am bald. It's okay. Sorry. There's exactly why I wrote the article, because email is not a great way to communicate, and I have just personally demonstrated that. But anyway, you know, you got to be able to laugh at things and you know, kind of do that. So I would tell you, as I sit here with 33 years, I am much closer to the sunset than the sunrise of my career. But it's really encouraging me to see young officers and, you know, my son sitting back there, right? Coming into the Air Force in September, you guys moving out after getting your training to do awesome things for the Air Force. I know our Air Force is in good hands. So thanks for what you're doing. Thanks for I know you would do good. And call me, email me, do anything you want. The only, not the only, but the value I have as an officer that's been in for 33 years is to help guys like you, right? I'm not smarter, but I understand the system. I understand how it works. And so I can help with promotions, talent management, how do we get people in the right places based on their individual goals, not on some cookie cutter thing that we do as a mass processing drill, because I sit on the boards, I'm with the development team, I get to know the people, and it's not like, hey, you got a buddy in Cody, it's, hey, Cody understands you, he understands your family situation, he understands your talents, and so I'm just trying to create the win-win. It's not like, well, because I called Cody, I got this job, but it's not the right job for you, you still got to meet Air Force needs. The point is when we take the time to get to know people, what's important to them, and line them up with the opportunities that works best for the Air Force wins, the individual wins, the family wins, and it kind of all comes together. And I think when we take the time to get to know people individually, that's kind of the path that we head on. So again, really encouraging. Again, thank you to the families. You guys are awesome. I don't know what I would do without Mrs. Cody and my 4 awesome kids always giving me, you know, you got to have all those pillars. When you have a not so good day at work, and I'll be honest, I don't have many of them, and you come home and the wife gives you a hug and the kids give you a kiss, you're like, hey, I am all good, right? And you got communities and things to support you. Be that well-rounded airman. All right, I think that's all I got. I think it's time to pin some wings on some folks. Sure. Yeah, so, hey, do great things, guys. Call me if you need anything. Congratulations, and go get them.
Thank you, Colonel Cody. Lieutenant Colonel Sparks, could you please come forward as we begin the awarding of the wings? So now, I would like to provide an explanation to the meaning of the Cyberspace Operator Badge. As you can see depicted here. The lightning bolts signify the cyberspace domain, while the globe signifies the projection of cyber power worldwide. Together, the globe and lightning bolt wings represent our common communications heritage. The bolted wings centered on the globe are taken from the Air Force SEAL and signify our striking power through air, space, and cyberspace. Finally, the orbit circling the globe signify the space-related elements of the cyberspace mission. Undergraduate Cyber Warfare Training Class 21010. Prepare for the presentation of your cyber badges and certificates of graduation. As each student's name is called, will the student and persons presenting his or her wings please come forward? We invite family and friends to come forward for pictures with their graduate after they receive their certificate or during their badging. So first on our roster for 21010 is Second Lieutenant Ryan Carnes. Before we applaud him, he got called away this morning on a high priority mission. And the highest. And if you don't know, that mission involved his wife birthing his child. So.
It's being recorded, right, for him?
Yes, sir.
All right. So it's official. We're actually going to. Oh, girl. Oh, where's the one for? Let's get the. Well, we're going to edit this out. That's why Cyber Warriors, you know, put it over here. Cyber Warriors exist for Photoshop.
Photoshop works.
That's for the next
And for the next one, we are going to graduate this Corral the 4th.
All right. So next on the roster for 21010, Second Lieutenant Sebastian Corral. So presenting his wings is Lieutenant Tavali.
Okay, here we go.
Lieutenant Corral has been assigned to the 39th Information Operations Squadron at Joint Base San Antonio, Texas.
All right. Got it.
Swear up.
Next, we have Second Lieutenant Joseph Coutain. Presenting his wings is his wife, Chantel, and daughters, Victoria and Aubrey.
Here's the dangerous part.
All right, yep.
Give it to the baby.
Yep. Yeah.
Lieutenant Coutain has been assigned to the 88th Communications Squadron at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio.
Here, you guys get a family photo. Oh, you Oh, that's so cool. That is awesome. It's fantastic. I love how you're almost flying at birdie there. Well done.
Next, we have Second Lieutenant Keith Darby. Presenting his wings is Lieutenant Crone. Lieutenant Darby has been assigned to the 183rd Aeromedical Evacuation Squadron, Mississippi Air National Guard, Jackson, Mississippi. Next, we have Second Lieutenant Christopher Elsass. Presenting his wings is his wife, Brittany Elsass. Lieutenant Elsass has been assigned to the 709th Cyberspace Squadron at Patrick Space Force Base, Florida. Our next graduate is Second Lieutenant Ridley Hain. Presenting his wings is Captain Oliver. Lieutenant Hain has been assigned to the 103rd Air Control Squadron, Connecticut Air National Guard in Orange, Connecticut. Next up, we have Second Lieutenant Ricky Kendall. Presenting his wings is Captain Oliver. Lieutenant Kendall has been assigned to the 91st Cyberspace Operations Squadron, Joint Base San Antonio, Texas. Our next graduate is Second Lieutenant Michael Crone. Presenting his wings is his wife, Mary Beth Crone.
Acclaimed singer. That's our leader. Yeah.
Lieutenant Crone has been assigned to the 124th Communications Flight, Idaho Air National Guard in Boise, Idaho.
Give me this.
Next, we have Second Lieutenant Nathan Martis. Presenting his wings is Christina Staffstrom.
Get him good.
Lieutenant Martis has been assigned to the 724th Special Tactics Support Squadron, Pope Field, North Carolina.
There you go, AFSOP.
Yes,
sir.
Standing next to you is not good for my ego.
It's okay, my family has a receiving here.
Yeah. So they sound me.
Next, we have Captain Joe Steinbrunner.
Athlete extraordinaire.
Presenting his wings is Second Lieutenant Tavalli. Captain Steinbrunner has been assigned to the 166th Cyberspace Operations Squadron in Delaware Air National Guard, Newcastle, Delaware. He will be the Information Operations Range Manager and Infrastructure Flight Commander. And finally, last but not least, of the Nerdbirds,
Drum
We
roll.
have Second Lieutenant Michael Tabali. And presenting his wings is Lieutenant Colonel Sparks. Lieutenant Tabali has been assigned to the 353rd Special Operations Support Squadron at Kadena Air Base, Japan.
Another Assault Warrior, baby. Welcome to the team.
All right. Oh, we gotta get one more.
Oh,
Get third flag. Put hair on me in the next one.
Get one more big congratulations for class 21010. And now for the presentation of the awards. The first is an award that recognizes the outstanding contributor, decided by an anonymous vote from all of the class members. This award is sponsored by the Armed Forces Communications and Electronics Association, also known as AFCEA. Before I announce this, just want to say this was a close race between multiple class members. But the outstanding contributor for UCWT class 21010 is Second Lieutenant Ricky Kendall.
All those PowerPoints.
This is practice. Well done.
Next, we have the Major General Robert E. Sadler Award, and this award is presented on behalf of the Air Force Command, Control, Communications, and Computers Association. And it recognizes the UCWT graduate with the highest cumulative grade point average. The Sadler Award recipient for UCWT graduating class 21010 is Second Lieutenant Ryan Carnes. Let's give him a hand.
He's not here, so should we give it to Corral the Fourth?
I think he'll take it.
We also have to mail him the Sadler wings.
Yes, yes. So, if you didn't know, the tradition began with UCWT's first graduating class on December 7, 2010. In addition to the Sadler Award, Brigadier General Ian Dickinson, the former 81st Training Wing Commander, presented his wings to the honoree. In turn, the student receiving the General's wings offered his first badge back to the schoolhouse to pass down to the next Sadler Award winner. Today, the graduate which received the Sadler Award, they will relinquish his or her newly pinned wings to the schoolhouse to continue the tradition. So we will have to follow up with Lieutenant Carnes to make sure we get those wings from him. All right. But lastly, we have the coveted Top Instructor Award,
Oh yeah.
better known as the Furious Fowl Award. It's where the ducks. This award recognizes the instructor who, more than any other instructor, transformed and inspired the student flight the most during their training. And the award is decided by an anonymous vote of all flight members and cannot be awarded to the class mentor. Requirements for the Furious Fowl Award include, first and foremost, superior instructorship, And the recipient must also demonstrate the Mad Duck standards of boldness, discipline, and a focus on quality over quantity. To present the Top Instructor Award, we're going to call the class leader for 21010, Second Lieutenant Michael Crone.
Class 21010 would like to thank all of our instructors for their dedication and personal interest in our development and success throughout the course. Although many of the cadre provided excellent instruction and subject matter expertise, Class 21010 selected Captain Chad Oliver as our top instructor. Captain Oliver truly went above and beyond in his efforts to share his personal experience and lessons learned with us, and showed genuine interest in ensuring we were prepared as much as possible to face the challenges ahead. Class 21010 is sincerely grateful to Captain Oliver and all of our instructors for their efforts to improve the course and their willingness to help each other and every one of us. Please join me in a standing ovation.
Put some wet ink on there. Certificates. Thanks, sir. And before you run off, we got this. So I'm going to provide a real quick explanation because we got some guests in the audience. So going all the way back to Vietnam, Korea, what we saw is, as we fought, in the kinetic and in the armed conflict against the communists, when we would meet them in combat, particularly in air combat, if one of our airmen was able to score a kill, a MiG kill, they would paint a red star on the side of the aircraft. As we know from the national defense strategy, our competitors right now, Russia and China, they don't meet us in armed conflict. They fight below the level of armed conflict, and that's where they meet us, and that's where each one of you are getting ready to go out and meet them, and we know that you're ready, and our instructors have prepared you for that. But because we don't meet them in armed conflict anymore, but fight below the level of armed conflict, we recognize our instructors, the one that you voted for, and we recognize that as top instructorship. But I put on here a MiG kill for every time that instructor is voted by the class as the top instructor. And the reason I do that is, the way I look at it is we're now sending out an entire class that's about to go out and compete against them. And in my mind, that's almost as good as a MiG kill. And so I very much appreciate what Captain Oliver has invested in you. As the saying is, what we leave behind is not what is inscribed on tombstones, but what is woven into the lives of others. And your legacy as an instructor is what you teach. And so it's how you made them feel. And so I certainly appreciate you, Captain Oliver. So here's number 2. We got a few more and you'll be an ace. Well done. Woo.
Sir, did you have any words?
Oh, I got
Yeah.
I was not told that was part of the deal.
Yeah.
Hey, really humbled and very pleased and honored to be part of your instructing path to become the graduates that you are. As Colonel Sparks said, we have pushed you guys further than when I was a student because we expect you to be better than we are. I challenged you. You guys rose to that occasion to the point that the class I just taught, I used products you produced as examples for the standard that they now have to meet. You guys rose to the occasion. I am proud of you. I am honored to be your instructor, and thank you.
guess it's my turn. So originally when I started this class, they asked for volunteers for class leader, and I volunteered. Truth be courageous, baby. I volunteered because I was afraid I was going to get picked. So I decided I was going to go ahead and head that off and go ahead and stand up and do this. Originally, Captain Wooden said that this position was just administrative and a way of funneling information to the rest of the class and vice versa. This is outside the job description. So standing up here, definitely outside the comfort zone. We have a couple of gifts that we'll give, and then, but I just want to say as a class leader, I've been through a number of tech schools. I'm prior enlisted, and as far as our group is concerned, I have never been more impressed with a group of individuals that have been able to work together considering our diversity and our backgrounds. And you have given me the opportunity to grow, and I'm very thankful to have been able to do this for you guys. So thank you very much, and thank you for letting me be a part of your class, because I know that you picked me. Thank you so much. The first gift is we're going to be giving to Lieutenant Colonel Sparks.
Oh. I'm suspicious of what this is going to be.
Good, good, good. So this is just a T-shirt that we took one of your products and made it better.
Made it better. I love it.
So this is a 333rd Training Squadron T-shirt, and we have on the back, we've put our class.
So it's made by my roommate, Second Lieutenant Martis. Right?
Okay.
Made all of our
well done there, Martis.
Thanks, sir.
There's a fat guy and a little coat. Thank you.
So the second gift, we weren't entirely sure who to give it to, because the classroom that we were in the SCIF 118, there's 2 6-sided dice. And we actually use those, well, not only as stress relievers because they're soft and pliable, but they're soft, and you throw them at other students. And with 2 6-sided dice, that is an incomplete set as far as a nerd bird is concerned. So we've gone ahead and we've completed the set with a 20-sided, a 10-sided, a 4-sided, an 8-sided, and a 12-sided, also soft and can be thrown.
Thank you. Yeah, that's right. True. Right there. Yeah. Thank you, class. That was awesome. I saw your Nerdberg jerseys at the drop night. I was very jealous. So I love it. Thank you for bringing it.
That's all Martis is creating.
Yeah, he's going to do good in special tactics.
I'd like to open the floor, take a few minutes. If there's anyone that had an experience with our class that can be publicly talked about, this would be a chance to tell it. Anyone? We do have a slideshow. So we'll go ahead and come to the, what's that?
Real quick.
Okay.
So, Snow, I'm the mentor for class 21010, and we just went through a number of awards, but I wanted to give some unofficial awards or recognition to some class members. First of all, first recognition, I have 2 of them. First one is going to be for Lieutenant Coutain. He wins the award for most pre and post travel assessments during UCT.
Oh my God.
I remember these.
All right, and my second recognition is going to go to Captain Steinbrunner, and he gets the recognition for holding the highest number of AFSCs. This is his 5th AFSC. So he's getting older.
When we graduated high school, we were close to be. used to do. I looked at a map, the school was kind of far. I love to go and visit, but I don't have a car. Thanksgiving breaks, 'cause it'll be even if 2 year I am can't rarely speak. Busy schedule, man, I can't talk this week. And it was me and you, but now I'm going to know. Man, it really got a name to you. And I'm bad. There's some jokes that you won't understand. But two are friends for real. As we go on, I remember. College gave me a different outlook. All our friends on Facebook. So freshman year is ended and I'm home again for summer. And I saw you at the start, but you were being quite a bummer. You were whining about how we never chilled all year, and trying to get me to come out for a beer. You're a little bit funny, but you're lying to see that we're two far different people than we used to be. So we're still alright, happy B-Day on your wall. And be nice to your mom when I see her at the mall, yeah. But please don't ever call me. Dude, I moved on. Please don't get pissed. I've got new friends, and you're not missed. Now I'm leaving. Take a good look. You won't see me.
There's so much fun.
Except on Facebook. Well, we're sitting at a funeral a few years from now, 'cause some guy when you died and we're both back in town. I'll wander over and I'll say hello. Heard you got married, how did it go? Things are tough when you lost my job in LA. My life is somewhere between bad and okay. I heard you're doing really well. No matter what, looking for help. Dude, I'm sorry, I was distant, but I never meant to distance. I refresh it, hard as it's been. We can still be friends on LinkedIn. Dude, I'm sorry.
Y'all ready? Guys want to come next to each other so we can just give a one minute or something? How hard on it? See up right there? Oh, I'm really recording so because my favorite belly in here. Yes. Video picture. From the inside. Siri, take a picture. Unless you guys have take a picture. Alright, you guys ready? You guys in position? Yep. Alright, 3, 2, 1. Sticky. Alright, change to the next position. Yeah. Good quality, bro. Good quality photos.
Oh my goodness.
Whoever said we kept you guys busy is a bunch of horses. Good grief.
One thing that I did forget, because I was the physical training leader during our time at UCT, is that the Nerdbirds, we may not be the smartest, but we're absolutely the strongest. Push-ups!
So congratulations to all of the award winners, and let's give one more warm round of applause to class 21010. Before we we end to Colonel Sports, would you like any?
I'll be quick. I know we're running on time. I can't believe how well behaved these kids are. It's funny. Some people. My dad was a Baptist pastor, and sometimes kids would act up in church, and Dad would always tell them, "I'm going to tell you the same thing. I'm glad that you left them in here because I promise you, they won't cry as much as Captain Pugh does, and they won't be as messy as Captain Howe. I promise you." It's awesome to see all these families, and very much appreciate you guys supporting our airmen, our guardians. Appreciate our Space Force folks that joined us for a little bit. Colonel Cody, thank you so much for coming. It means so much that you would come down and invest your considerable time and talents here. You got us all liquored up, man, about AFSOC. I'm like, I want to join.
We got 2 out of 10. I'm going for 50%.
Sir, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to my instructors. You're the reason that the team makes it all the way to the end. So I want to say thank you for holding the standard, and to the students.